Hey, good to see you here at Absorption 77. I always admired teachers, especially the ones that really had a lot to teach, because you knew they worked hard. You knew they were very studious on their own. And so when they were kind of hard on you, you you realized, wow, these guys, they might be hard on me, but they're harder on themselves at some point. So I came to admire most of my professors, especially in college. I learned a lot from them. And that's the key thing. If you can learn something from a professor, a teacher, someone who considers themselves some kind of guide, maybe a mentor, uh, then you've got that learning spirit. When I became a pastor, uh, I also became a teacher. In fact, if you know anything about what's called spiritual gifts in the Bible, the Apostle Paul talked about them a few times. And the pastor gift went along with the teacher gift. I would say 80-90% of pastors I know, I could be off a little, but have the gift of teaching as well. And I think that's just natural because you want to see people do well. You want to see them excel. You want to see them have a great time in life and be healthy and take risks and make a difference and change things for the better. And sometimes they have to be taught for that. And sometimes the pastor is that particular teacher. There was a pastor in, was it in the 18th century? Name of Oberlin, like Oberlin, Kansas. And he was in the mountains, or the foothills, in France, a part of France that used to be German, Alsace-Lorraine. And he was a teacher, and he'd take his own money. He wasn't wealthy or anything. He'd take his own money, start orphanages and daycare, help the people in his parish, which were some of the poorest in all of France. He'd help them build roads, bridges, new farming techniques, new gardening techniques, new crops. And so he used his life to teach them how to have a better life. And so he was one of my models for the years over my 30 years of pastoring, not quite 10 years of chaplaincy. So about 40 years of ministry all involved. And some ministry before I was actually a professional at being a pastor. So I'd say 40 years of basically caring for people. And you end up becoming a teacher by default. One of the things I learned was that you got to learn good communication skills. You got to really know what you're talking about. You got to back up your words with some reasonable statistics and facts and information. But the truth is, you can do all that and people still don't listen. I don't know how many people listen to me over the years. I don't know how many lives I changed. 5, 50, 500. Couldn't tell you. I never did worry about it. It's not important because it's, number one, it's incalculable, and number two, it probably doesn't matter much. You're sort of like Johnny Appleseed, and you just spread those apple seeds. I don't even know if that's a myth, but that's a great story. Perhaps a legend in our country. But you spread kindness. You spread apple trees. You spread food. You spread shade. You spread care and love just by planting apple trees. Maybe that's why teachers were often the recipients of an apple from some of their favorite students or their favorite students. Bring an apple to school just to let your teacher know how much you appreciate them. And I learned over the years that you can do all that. You can be entertaining even. You can be funny. You can tell jokes. But people have to want to learn. They have to be in kind of a hunger state for more, for something that's going to bring great change and consequential activities to their lives. And if you're a good teacher, which is a consistent teacher, you're going to get good at that. I'm not even saying you have to be a great teacher. You just have to be consistent. I never tried to be a great preacher. I tried to be consistent, good from week to week to week at what I did and what I was called to do by bringing the Word of God to people's lives. And I also tried to be very positive. I worked hard at not spending much time showing people how bad they were, but I enjoyed showing people how good God is and how we can follow in His footsteps, especially the feet of Jesus. So I learned some things about teaching, and one of those things that maybe stands out more than anything else is that people learn as much from your teaching, from your behavior, as they do from your words. It may turn out that they learn more from what you do than what you say. You ever think about that? People surprise you. I remember almost all of my teachers from, I suppose, third grade up, including all my college professors, I think. And the ones that I learned from the most are the ones that seem to care about my future the most. And that came out in their teaching. That came out in their words. That came out in their after school hours behavior, particularly the college professors. They were approachable, interesting, always ready to share something wonderful and informational, interesting, exciting perhaps, new way of looking at things. But I was always curious. I was always hungry. I really loved getting new information into my mind, thinking about it, hashing it over, not always agreeing with it, sometimes disagreeing strongly. But I liked that idea of information because I thought I could use it to make people's lives better. I'll be 69 in less than a week. I'm getting on towards 70. And I think about this a lot. How do you use your life and your words to make a difference in people's lives? Not everybody wants to learn. And you can tell pretty quickly sometimes people are really put off when you try to teach them something. It's fun around the lake here because we just meet people and we teach them about the creation. And we do it in a few words sometimes, maybe a few sentences, sometimes a whole paragraph. A lot of it's just kind of very pointed, very short, very quick things that you can share with somebody about the difference between a green heron and a great blue egret, or a great blue heron rather, or the eagles that we have over here. You can share some information. And there's some people that just love to know more. I love those people too. I love other people too. But I think, if you quit learning, you kind of quit living. So I encourage you to enjoy that learning mode for all you're worth, for all the rest of your life. Let's say I got another 10, 15 years on this world. I'm going to learn as much as I can in that time. Because I like living. And to me, learning is living. And living is learning. Anyway, it's a beautiful day. I'm just going to sneak around here and get some of the sky. I picked up a word here a while back. What is it? Neophile. Person who loves clouds and the shapes and the sizes and the colors of clouds. There's always something to learn. In fact, with our internet age, there's a zillion times, and I don't know how many a zillion is, but there's a zillion times more things to learn. So I don't bother counting it up anymore. I just enjoy the journey. Anyway, I hope you're interested in learning today. For your own sake, your family's sake, your friends' sake, for your community's sake. We'll see you around the lake. Maybe we'll learn something together. See you later.